Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the City Council meeting for November the 7th, 2023. It is 6:07. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Carter,
Present.
Councilmember Oliva,
Present.
Councilmember Garcia,
Present.
Mayor Potem Marroquin,
Present.
Mayor Cardenas Singh.
Present. Thank you. At this time, if I could please ask you to stand. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilmember Garcia and remain standing for the invocation presented by Councilmember Sonia Carter.
Hand over your heart. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you just simply saying thank you. We ask you just to bless the months ahead, Lord. We ask you, Lord, just to protect us. No accidents, no danger, no hurt, no harm. We're just asking for protection over the Imperial Valley. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Thank you, colleagues. I appreciate it. At this time, Madam City Attorney, if you could please report out on closed session.
Madam Mayor, there's no report from closed session.
Wonderful. I will move us on to public comment. This is a public meeting. If there's an item on the agenda on which you wish to be heard, you are asked to complete a blue speaker slip and submit it to the city clerk prior to the start of the meeting. Persons wishing to address the council are not required to identify themselves. However, this information assists the mayor by ensuring that all persons wishing to address the council are recognized and also assists the city clerk in preparing city council minutes. When the item is announced and your name is called by the mayor, please step to the podium and state your name for the record. Unless the mayor extends the time, there is a 3-minute time limit for each public presentation. If you wish to address the council concerning any other matter not appearing on the agenda, you may do so during the public comment portion of that agenda. However, you may not show a visual presentation without prior review of the material. If you do so, you will be considered out of order. All right, I have 2 speaker slips before me. Madam City Clerk, is there any other blue speaker slips at this
Another,
time?
Mayor.
All right, great. At this time, I would like to invite to the podium Mr. Lee Hernandez.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Oh.
Yes.
Good evening, Mayor Cardenas Singh and members of the City Council. My name is Lee Hernandez, Government Affairs Specialist with the Imperial Irrigation District. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm here today because I just wanted to introduce myself. I was recently assigned to represent the Imperial Irrigation District here in Imperial Valley, and I just wanted to be here to offer my services. And if I can be of any assistance, please do not hesitate to contact me. I actually left my contact information with your staff, and if I can be of any assistance, please do not hesitate to contact me. So if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to provide a response.
Wonderful, Mr. Hernandez. We have a great working relationship with the IID, and I appreciate you being here this afternoon to introduce yourself. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Second item here is, let's see, Coin Power Sports Racing ATV on Wake Avenue. Mr. Gary Redfern.
Good evening. This is a matter I've brought to the attention to the police department on a few occasions, and to their credit, I think they've attempted to do something about it. I live at Desert Trails RV Park on Wake Avenue, and my trailer is right on Wake. Basically, you throw a stone out my back porch, you hit Johnny's Burritos. So we're basically right on Wake. And Coin Power Sports, they test drive these ATVs, these razors, and they're not street legal, okay? And they go very fast. I obviously don't have a radar gun, but I would guess they're doing 60. And I have several concerns with this. Number one is it's dangerous. That's a very crowded area, as I'm sure you're all familiar. Home Depot, RVs, major, good size RVs going in and out of our park that are lumbering very slow. So the speed is a concern. Number two, these vehicles are not street legal for a reason. They don't have the equipment, blinkers and everything. I mean, they don't belong on the street. And number three is the noise. They're really noisy. And I've reported this to the police. I've asked them to go out and ask them to stop this because they shouldn't be doing it. And on a couple of occasions, it's stopped for a while and then it just picks back up again. And last Saturday, they were out 5-6 times in the morning. And I know what they're doing. They're trying to sell ATVs, which is good. And you want to test drive them. But unfortunately, you can't test drive a vehicle that isn't street legal. It's not allowed. I mean, if and the cops have told me, they said, well, if you call us when it happens, we can come out, but they're not going to see it because they're down that street and back in probably less than a minute. So if I call the police, I mean, cops are busy these days. If they can make it out, they're going to be out well after, this vehicle's parked back in there. And what I'm asking the city to do here is talk to Coin Power Sports or Marty, the owner, and say, look, this has got to stop. This is a nuisance. These vehicles do not belong on city streets. I'm sure if I came here tonight and said, hey, I want to open an ATV business and I'd like to test drive my vehicles on your street, it wouldn't just be no, it'd be hell no. And I'm here to just say, this has got to stop. And I'd like to know, what the city's going to do about it because I fear for safety. I mean, these, like I said, these vehicles are not street legal for a reason. They're driven at a high rate of speed in a very congested area. And someday something's going to happen and then somebody's going to go, oh, well, why didn't they do something? Well, that's what I'm saying is something needs to be done. This needs to stop. And somebody needs to have a very pointed conversation with them and say, look, and I don't know if there's further action, an injunction or something that needs to happen, but, they're apparently not getting the message because I'm pretty confident, that the officers I've talked to have gone out. They told me they would, and I take them at their word. Obviously, I wasn't there to witness the conversations. But my phone number is on, and my email contact is on my slip. And obviously, this isn't something you can address tonight, but I would like to find out, what could be done about this and hear back. So I think my 3 minutes are up.
Thank you, Mr. Redfern.
Sure.
I will make sure that we have this addressed by our city manager.
Madam Mayor, so Deputy Chief Brown will get with Mr. Redfin and make sure that we have the information necessary, and we'll follow back.
Should I talk to
Follow
him now,
back.
or-
Yes, he's waiting for you back.
Okay. All right.
Back.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Madam City Attorney, I'm just double checking. Is there any other blue speaker slips at this time? Madam City Clerk,
No,
so that I
none.
can move us along? All right. Great. I will move us on to presentations and announcements. And there's a certificate of recognition. I would like to call up, please, our Fire Chief Bernal to the stand. Or to the podium, to the stand sounded kind of scary. We're not going to have you testify, that's for sure.
All right. Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. I just want to take the opportunity before the certificate of recognition was presented to come up here and express my appreciation for the California Paramedic Foundation and Mr. Maxwell for all that have attended our annual open house over the last couple of years. It would be hard not to notice the Safety City demonstration that we have that has become the showcase of our annual open house. I know Councilmember Garcia's boys enjoyed it this year. And for anybody who's been there, the line is ever not full. There's always an eager line of children to interact. It's a fun, exciting, and very unique platform that brings traffic safety education to the valley. And it's something that's very appreciated as a part of our open house because it gives us an opportunity not only to invite people in, but to educate our community. And just very appreciative of the California Paramedic Foundation and Mr. Maxwell in particular. And if I could pivot there is specifically for Mr. Maxwell, not only has he provided this, he selflessly provided his time. He's come down and overseen the operation for the last couple of years, has taken an interactive role in engaging our community and not only just overseeing, but actively engaging, out there teaching, out there having a good time. And it's just been such a joy to have them down that the certificate of recognition is not enough to convey my appreciation, but we appreciate taking the time here to say thank you to Mr. Maxwell and the California Paramedic Foundation.
Wonderful. Thank you, Chief Bernal. At this time, please, if I can call up Mr. Paul Maxwell with the California Paramedic Foundation. Good evening, Mr. Maxwell.
Good evening. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the great work and for the partnership that you have here for the city, with the city of El Centro. On behalf of our council and myself, I'd like to take this opportunity to present you with a certificate of recognition in recognition for outstanding leadership in supporting the foundation in crucial programming in education, prevention, and advancement. Thank you for providing safety city to our community during the fire department annual open house. I'd like to present this to you, please.
Thank you very much for this honor. Paramedics, EMTs, firefighters, we all respond to the tragedies of children being injured in traffic-related incidents. And it is an honor to bring Safety City to the community, to have the EMTs, paramedics, and firefighters all participate in saving more lives, because we can save more lives by preventing them from being injured in the first place than if we always have to respond on them. And thank you to the city manager for inviting us here for the first time several years ago. And we plan on continuing to come back every year. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. All right, council, we're on consent agenda items 2 through 6. What is the will of this group? Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes. Mr. Maxwell, I apologize. We're going to take a group picture.
I was wondering. I was thinking.
By the way.
Oh, yeah.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're good.
Not complete until we get 25 clicks from Jose.
Gotta take the movie.
And then I always get the one with the eyes
All
closed.
right, thank you.
We put on a staple in our community. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, can I make a brief statement about Paul?
Yes,
Um,
of course.
You know, Paul, don't leave. Come back. So my interactions with Paul happened on after the Easter earthquake. Paul came into Imperial County as an ambulance strike team leader. So he came in to help Imperial County at that time. That's when I first met him. Little did I know that I was actually meeting the godfather of EMS down in San Diego County. Paul has been practicing as a paramedic for like appears to be 100 years, although he doesn't look a day older than 25. So Paul, you know, as an individual, I thank you for all your help, you know, spanning many years of a career and your friendship as well. Thank you for being such a great paramedic and a great human. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, colleagues. As far as our consent agenda items 2 through 6 at this time, I do have a motion made by Councilmember Tomas Oliva. Mayor Pro Tem has seconded the motion. It's not letting me push the button.
Yeah, it was me too.
Wipe your
Did you get it?
It's not letting us.
We can do a voice vote.
Let's do that. Madam City Clerk, please, voice call.
Councilmember Carter,
Yes.
Councilmember Oliva,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Marroquin,
Yes.
Mayor Cardenas Singh.
Yes, that item passes 5-0. Thank you. All right. Item number 7 on our agenda. Madam City Attorney, can you please advise on that, on this item?
Yes, Madam Mayor, if you could open the public hearing, which will be a combined public hearing of all three items, and then continue this matter to your December 5th meeting with the consent of Mr. Vasquez, the property owner, and the consent of the Community Development Director.
Wonderful. So items 7, 8, and 9, I will then, this is a public hearing to consider the recommendations of the Planning Commission regarding the Vasquez Apartments negative declaration number 22-04, change of zone number 22-5, and general plan amendment number 22-5. I have now opened the public hearing.
And if you could continue this to December 5th.
And I will therefore continue this until December the 5th of 2023.
This is Mr. Vasquez, the property owner.
Wonderful. Mr. Vasquez?
Good evening,
Good
Mayor,
evening.
City Council.
Good evening.
I mean, I'm very excited on this project. It's been I procured that property a couple years ago. I've done other developments here in the city where I've taken troubled properties and basically did new construction for affordable housing. So this is another opportunity for me as I procured the property and through all the right channels, through escrow and what have you. So I'm already advancing on the project. We got architects, engineers, we're fully engaged. And I just want to say to the city council that we're very excited to move forward on the development of this project. And that's it.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. All right. Colleagues, then, this brings us to item number 10, correct, City Attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Zoning Ordinance Text Amendment 23-01, allowing card rooms in the CG General Commercial Zone. Mr. Angel Hernandez.
Hello, good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Staff is requesting that this public hearing be canceled. The reason is that any amendments to ordinances related to card rooms or gambling establishments, they need to be sent to the Bureau of Gaming Control of the state so they can review and comment. Staff is still in the process of making some final edits to the card room ordinance. And we'll be sending that the city's draft to the bureau shortly. In the meantime, we will be bringing this back to City Council for action discussion. The item that was scheduled was for the zoning ordinance text amendment, but because the regulations, the application process for the card room ordinance is so closely related to that, we're requesting that be postponed so they could be discussed at the same
You
time.
could table it.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. City Attorney, is there any action that needs to take place since this item will be tabled?
If you by consensus would table this hearing, once this is resolved, the hearing will be renoticed.
Wonderful. So will this be a vote or a consensus?
The consensus is
Right.
fine.
Am I getting head nods? All right. Sounds great. Then we will go ahead and table this item until we hear back on all the requirements for this. All right. Item number 11, City Manager's new staffing recommendation. Ms. Dulce Bedoya, our HR Director.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Here before you is the city manager's recommendation to approve the creation of the multimedia content creator position. There will be no fiscal impact to the general fund as current budget for services provided by contracted agencies will be transferred to cover the full cost of this new position. The city currently receives a variety of multimedia services to the equivalency of a part-time employee. With the approval of the multimedia content creator, we would have a full-time employee and will also see a $10,000 savings per fiscal year in contract expenses. Under the direction of the Public Information Officer, the multimedia content creator duties include collaborate with various departments to develop video content and photos, create visually appealing flyers to publish in various social media formats, shoot and edit high-quality videos and photos, create a wide range of graphic designs and layouts for brochures, logos, signage, and promotional materials. This person would also create presentations for various events and live stream of council meetings and events. With that, we're asking for the approval for the creation of the multimedia content creator position.
Thank you, Ms. Bedoya. At this time, council, is there any questions on this item?
Madam Mayor, I have to say, just to kind of add my 2 cents to this. Once upon a time, if somebody were to come to me and introduce themselves and say, I'm a content creator, I chuckled, right? Because at a certain time in our lives, it's just like, what is that? And here I am being asked to create that position for the city. But just for the general public, it is important to when we have events, the flyers that are created, the video that are done for social media content so that the general public understands that events are happening on their behalf and for them to be able to attend. The flyers that are handed out, like you said, the promotional material, I get it. Like, I guess what I wanted to make sure that the public understood is that we're not hiring somebody to make TikTok videos. We're hiring somebody to create this promotional content, the informative content, the flyers, the material, the videos that is meant to promote the work that is done on behalf of the residents by this city government. And so that is my understanding, and that's why I'm going to be in favor of this item.
Thank you. And I just want to add that it's very important when we talk about making sure that we're providing information to our community. The work that takes place in making sure that we are being inclusive and that we're providing access to all individuals as far as language is concerned, accessibility through our social media outlets, through our website, and all the information that has gone out to the public. So again, this just strengthens the bandwidth of communication and transparency and access to services here at the City of El Centro. So at this time, I'm asking for a vote. However, I'm still not able to vote on my screen.
We can do voice roll call.
Wonderful.
We can do that.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, please, if you will call the roll.
Councilmember Carter,
Yes.
Councilmember Oliva,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Marroquin,
Yes.
Mayor Cárdenas Singh.
Yes, thank you. That item passes 5-0. Thank you. We're on item number 12, Award Police Station Construction Project. Mr. Abraham Campos, Public Works Director and City Engineer. Good evening.
Good evening. Let me just pull up a presentation for you. All right, let's start this. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council members. I'm very happy and glad to be here right now. This is what's coming up before you is a next step in a series of actions taken by the city council staff over the years, together with staff and the police department. Hopefully at the end of this, we'll be awarding a police station project and starting construction very soon. So now for the public and for everybody not aware of the project, back in April 6th of 2021, we approved a contract with Arlington Watkins to design the library. We have actually representatives here from the company, as well as on January 17th of 23, we approved a bond measure for this project to get it funded at a bond revenue amount of 36 million and change as shown in the slide. On June 26th, we approved the construction management contract for Buffer Betty to help us in the construction management of this project. And on September 19, just a couple months ago, we received bids for this project after a very thorough pre-qualification process. So what we ended up receiving is what you see on the screen is two bids. One is for the base bid, and then an additive bid. The additive bid here shown is the outfitting of the firing range that's being proposed for this project. The base bid is 39,764,499. The additive bid 165,000. So now where we ran in a little bit of hiccup is well, a big hiccup is on the engineer's estimate. We were counting on the project being at 31 million. That's why we bonded 36 to account for the soft cost design, construction management, so forth, for a total project about 40. But the bids came in quite a bit higher. As you can see, from 31, they came in at 39. So just to give you an overall project cost, we don't just look at projects with construction costs. There's design, construction management. We have to keep contingency should we start digging and find something that we need to address, or there's changes during construction. So we set aside, typical for construction projects, 10%. And this one being specifically in an existing site, is very critical that we save that 10% for any unknowns as we're working in an existing site. And then there's other soft costs for permits, relocations, utilities, IID, phone companies, so forth. So at the end of the day, when we're planning for this project, we're planning on a $49,761,182 overall project cost. And as I just mentioned, the estimate was originally at 40. So there's a gap that we need to cover. We started looking at the project and how do we make this happen? Because at the end of the day, we want to complete this project. This is very much the intent of the police department, and here this is what we're proposing on how to get this done. Over the past few years, we spent already Measure P funds to start the design, to expedite that ahead of the bonding. So we spent about $2 million in that. And what we're proposing is, since this project will be a 3-year fiscal year project, it's a 2-year construction, but it'll span across 3 fiscal years. We can set aside existing funding for Measure P in this current fiscal year 24 of $3 million. We can set aside on fiscal year 25, $4 million, and then in fiscal year 26, $2 million, added to the revenue bonds, impact fees, asset forfeiture. And you can see that we're creating a puzzle to get this project funding and delivered. Now, our concern was, what does this do to Measure P? Because obviously those are big amounts that we're asking. And this is a lot going on here. This is in your backup as well. But what I want to point you is to the gap funding request. You can see that we're in fiscal year 24. We're asking for $3 million. Fiscal year 25, we're asking for $4 million. And fiscal year 26, $2 million. Just as we stated. So at the end, we want to keep a fund balance, which is basically our reserve, just in case something happens, there's an emergency. We don't want to drop the Measure P fund from 5 million, more or less. So keeping that in mind, that we're not going to go beyond at any point 5 million in our Measure P. That leaves us after the 4 million request for fiscal year 24. That leaves us 500,000 in fiscal year 25 for requests. In fiscal year 24, it says 100,000 because we already approved the budget that allocated quite a bit of projects for parks, for public works, for different departments. So that's already taken care of and acknowledged. And we still have, even after funding all of our commitments from the fiscal year 24 budget, there's still, I would say, very little, but enough to fund us between now and June 30 of 2024 for should there be a miscellaneous request here or there, in addition to what's already approved. Fiscal year 25 is the one that I really want to pay attention and just give you a heads up. For fiscal year 25, there's only, because we're committing quite a bit of the revenue from Measure P into the police station, there's very little left for future budget requests in fiscal year 25. that's the 1 year that we gotta basically go on a diet if we need to. And but fiscal year 26, you can see that 500 that becomes now 2.4, and then in fiscal year 27, 4.2 available for projects, and fiscal year 26 and 25 and 20 and 28, 29, we're back to the 4.3 for projects every year based on the revenue stream available on Measure P. Is this just 1 year that I want to be very clear that as we're starting at staff level, going into our budget requests in December or January, preparing for the fiscal year 25 budget, we're going to be tight. But it's totally doable. There's still, after I scared everybody, there's still revenue left in case of emergency. But we really don't want to touch it unless it's an emergency. So with that, we want to look at cost savings. Once we award, we really want to finish the project. As being proposed to council right now is let's build a project, but we're not proposing funding right now the firing range because we seriously believe that we can create cost savings within the construction and working with the contractor to be able to do that. We're not asking for that funding right now. Here, we want to find cost savings within the project to be able to get the firing range and hopefully get additional cost savings during the project to bring the available budget in fiscal year 25 higher than what we're projecting right now. Any questions so far?
Just a quick question. So the main plan is to still have the firing range as part of the construction. It's just a matter of how we're going to move around the money to get that.
So right now, what's being approved is a project with the shell of the firing range. So the building will be built, but the actual equipment that goes inside of it will not right now.
Understood.
As right now. But as we move into construction, we start having their meetings with a contractor, we'll have some serious discussions on how we can cut. Well, that's why architects as well here. I think we've had with the architect and the construction manager, we have discussions already on how can we do some cost savings to be able to fund this firing and
the
to
other
be able
question,
to add more savings.
regarding the fiscal year where we have $500,000 for Measure P. That's really low, and I understand that that's going to be a concern for our council, but does that already take into account the commitments that we've made with Measure P on a yearly basis?
So on fiscal year 24, council was very generous and pretty much we committed everything ahead. Even if the work was going to happen in 25, we committed it in 24. Now, to be able to fund the 24, we took a serious look at the projects that were committed in 24, and part of this project agenda will ask for a budget amendment so that projects that we know we won't be able to deliver in 24 get moved to 25, and that's already shown here and accounted for. And that freed up some money in 24 to be able to fund the request of $3 million right now. But an example would be a project that we said we committed in 24 that's barely going into design, but we ended up committing design and construction costs. So the construction costs were shifted to 25, and that's why we're low on 25 partly. And so to answer your question, yes, every project that has been committed to date is already accounted for.
And what about other sponsorships and community events that we've used some Measure P funds for? That has been accounted for because we envision that would be going yearly.
Definitely. So if that's why there's even room on fiscal year 24 right now, even after all of our commitments, unless you want to go on $100,000 sponsorship, let me know. I can apply.
No.
So there's that available. And then in fiscal year 25, there's still some available. But that's why I want to be very clear that in 25, we got to be very, very careful in this next budget year on how we do that. But in terms of sponsorships, they're never that I've seen anywhere close to this number.
No.
So I expect all of those to continue to happen.
Just wanted to see what was accounted for, but ultimately the police station was one of the core bases of what Measure P was for.
Right.
So I completely support it. Costs are rising. It's very understandable. Thank you.
And we had to support the cost of this one. I assure the council that we went through a very lengthy exercise during the bid review. to see that the price was right. So we had two contractors very similar to the price. We went to our estimator, that we hired a company to do the estimating. We had him do a second look. We had our construction manager do a third-party independent audit, basically a review on the cost. We all determined that 40 million is correct. That's the market now. Things have changed, as you mentioned. So we're comfortable with the number based on our two separate third-party reviews before coming to council with this recommendation. So if everything goes correct, we would be having awarding the construction tonight. We would be scheduling the November and the groundbreaking pretty darn soon, pretty soon. And we're anticipating completion on the first quarter of 2026. So with that, I would ask we take the following actions in the order that we have. Approving the fiscal year 24 budget amendment as presented in Exhibit A of your packet. And then a second to approve the resolution awarding the contract. And third, approve the budget presented in this report.
Mr. Abraham, I will tell you, I know that there has been a due diligence to make sure that the numbers are correct. There is a plan of action to make sure that the funding is available. I think what's also important is that the voters have decided that Measure P, one of the flagship and one of the reasons for Measure P was for the police station. So I want to understand and share that with the public that that's its intent. And unfortunately, right, the cost of construction and material is where we are right now. And so I will then ask council if there's any feedback or recommendations at this time. All right.
Madam Mayor, when you ask for action on number 1, the budget amendment, can you also use the word appropriate? Budget amendment and appropriation.
Thank you, Betsy.
All right. So I will say approve
Budget amendment and appropriation.
and appropriation. And we will have one motion for all 3 items, correct? All right. So at this time, the motion is to approve our fiscal 24 budget amendment and appropriations as presented in Exhibit A. Approve resolution number 23-106, resolution of the City Council of the City of El Centro awarding the bid and authorizing the execution of a contract for the construction of the City of El Centro Police Station. And number 3, approve project budget as presented in this report. And a motion has been made by Council Member Edgar Garcia. I will second the motion. And we are still unable to use our screens.
Madam Mayor, can I answer just a comment before we do the roll
Yes.
call motion? So I'm going to be as quick as possible because I know my colleagues get angry when I talk too much.
And I'm angry.
Yeah, I feel it right here. But the point that I wanted to make, just for the record and just for the general public, my colleagues have mentioned how simple or how easy it was to kind of come to the conclusion. However, I don't share that same sentiment in this. Like, when you have a project that comes in 9 million over budget, at least for me, it was a very difficult pill to swallow. Mainly because the way I weigh it was how much money was spent, for example, on the library versus how much money was spent is proposed to be spent here. And once upon a time when I got to sit there, I told myself, you know, these budgets are statements, right? And they're statements of how we appropriate things. However, it has taken me a while. Like I said, it was a hard pill to swallow, but swallowed nonetheless. And that is that I don't think it's fair where the fire department has a very nice, new, shiny station, right? And the police department doesn't. We have a nice, pristine, very boast-worthy aquatic center and library, but our police station is not there. And as Mr. Garcia mentioned, you know, Measure P was meant specifically for this. This was one of the things that was identified for. And so the only thing that I just wanted to say is that for anybody that thinks that these are decisions that are easily made, they're not. But this building is meant to last 75, 100 years. And so for anyone that thinks this is a lot of money, it is, but public safety, I think, is one of the foundational services that any government is supposed to provide for its residents so people can feel safe. So with all that, thank you for allowing me to stand on my soapbox, because I know that I see the eyes rolling, and that is that it is difficult. It's not easy for me to say, sure, 9 million, why not 10, right? It's not easy for me, but I do think it's important. And so I just ask for the people who would question it to know that our public safety and our officers deserve a dignified station, because if you don't know, their station is very old and falling apart. And if you saw with the current status of our police department, I think you would be in support of this item as well.
And I'm sure our chief would like to say a few words for the opportunity.
I'm going to be a little bit ahead of myself and be very optimistic about the vote that's to come before us. But really, I just want to take an opportunity to thank this council and the prior council that went out to put Measure P before the voters. Our community is very supportive of the city in general and of law enforcement and public safety, EMS and so forth. This really is an opportunity for us to continue shining bright with opportunity. But it's not possible without the fortitude and the tough decision-making of each and every one of you on the dais tonight. It is a tough decision. $9 million is a lot of, I will tell you that I was deeply saddened when I saw the bids. And initially I heard the dollar amount. I said, oh, well, that's within budget. And then Abraham kind of nudged me. It's not. You have to remember all these other costs. But I will tell you that the men and women that stand behind me tonight, that have served before me, that will come after me, because I'm ending my career in the next 5 to 7 years. But you have young men and women here that are the future of our department. You have young men and women in our Explorer program that were there tonight that are the future of the city to come. And they truly do deserve the state-of-the-art facility. And our city shines bright with opportunity. This is an opportunity for those individuals that come after me. And they come for generations to serve our community and step up and hear that call for service and answer those calls for help from our public, to receive training in a state-of-the-art facility, to come to work in a healthy environment that is productive for them and allows them an opportunity to have ample space for training and to be able to host events and bring the public into the facility. We currently are getting ready to start a Citizens Academy that we were going to open up to the citizens of our community and invite them in to see what we do on a day-to-day basis and help them understand that. But this is a facility that will allow us to bring that to another level. So with that in mind, I just want to thank you for what you're about to do, I hope. Get my fingers crossed, because I am an optimist tonight. It's not an easy decision. I certainly recognize that. I will say that I know a number of the people in the audience may not realize how heavy it is of a decision to make, but I thank you for all your support and all your hard work and everything else. And I do want to say that the men and women back here are the finest in the back, bar none. And I'm proud to be their chief. I'm proud to be your chief. So thank you for everything you've done for our people. Thank you to the community who's allowed us to have Measure P funds to use for these purposes. But Godspeed with your decision, and thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Chief.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Oliva,
I was going to say yes, and then the chief came. No, I'm just kidding. Yes.
Councilmember Carter,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Marroquin,
Yes.
Mayor Cardenas Singh.
Yes, that item passes 5-0. Congratulations to our Centro. All right, item number 13, purchase of a service truck for Street Maintenance Division, Abraham Campos.
All right, so now I'm asking for some change on this one.
Some change.
And good evening. This is just the purchase of a city vehicle for our streets maintenance department. We have a very old truck, a 2002, that needs to be replaced. It's within budget, sort of. We had allocated 65,000 in the budget. We got 2 quotes for the project, one from El Centro Ford and one from Bob Stahl La Mesa. And you can see that one is more expensive than the other. One has better warranty, one is a newer vehicle. So in this case, we're selecting, because of the type of equipment, the higher cost one, which is one from, it's slightly over like $5,000, if I remember correctly, over the other one. But the other thing I want to mention on this one is we're a little bit shortfall. Our budget was 65,000. The amount of the purchase is 72,000. So we're asking for the difference to be funded from Measure P. So if the other thing that we're looking at is because the way it was, we got the quotes, we're asking for a waiving of a specific section of the ordinance was required. It's a competitive bidding, advertising in the newspaper, and so forth, which was not adequate for this type of purchase, which is just a vehicle purchase. We cannot go into the city paper requesting quotes for one truck. It's not cost effective, and that's why we're asking waiving of that specific provision of the ordinance as you approve this resolution and appropriate the additional funding for this project. So I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Abraham. At this point, council, any questions for Mr. Abraham?
Mayor, I do.
Yes.
And I apologize for continuously, but this one is a substantive point, and that is, so you're asking for an allocation of $7,300 for Measure P. As you know, we just appropriated quite a bit. And so my question is, would it be possible to look into our ARPA monies that may still have a fund balance to cover, as you said, it's a low amount, and so I would imagine that there should be that amount at least left over in our ARPA account. Would that be possible?
It definitely is a question for our finance director. I did check with her because we were exploring different options. And that is an option under revenue loss under ARPA, but if she's available to further assist on that, she may jump in if it's still online. But I did check with her. She's locked out.
Hi, yes, I'm here. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Yes, this purchase would be eligible under ARPA. There is a category that is known as revenue loss, and that is pretty much for any purchases under the general fund for general services. So we would be able to purchase or cover the shortfall with ARPA funds. We do have 741,000 available.
Really?
So we can move forward with that.
More than I thought. Well,
Councilmember Oliva, just if you guys would recall, we do have some projects that are software related, right? Which we are working on to improve operations of the city, but it won't amount to $700,000 for sure. But that is the amount that Carla has identified as available.
so with that said, I mean, at the very least, colleagues, I would say the 7,200 that, or 7,300 that's being requested, I would make the motion to use ARPA, but furthermore, I perhaps would even say that perhaps ARPA could sustain the entire expenditure of the truck itself and move and shift that expenditure out of Measure P for fiscal year 24. And so I would just kind of throw that out there for my colleagues to think about and see like what would you be willing to do, and you know, if I'll make the motion would be to shift the FY24 expenditure of 65,000 from Measure P to ARPA, and to approve the 7,300 out of ARPA, so the total funding expenditure from ARPA would be the 72,273.06.
Second.
Okay.
All right. We still having
Yes,
technical
we're going to have to do
difficulties?
everything by roll call.
All right.
Okay.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Carter?
Yes.
Councilmember Oliva?
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Marroquin?
Yes.
Mayor Cardenas Singh?
Yes, that item passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 14, letter of support, Community Food Projects Grant Program Planning with San Diego State. Mr. Cedric Sesegna.
Good evening, Honorable Madam Mayor and council members. So this letter of support from San Diego State was requested on a short turnaround As such, the city manager's office went ahead and drafted a letter and submitted the letter on October 26, 2023, in order to assist San Diego State in meeting their deadline for the submittal. The letter supports the project that San Diego State is putting forward. They're applying for a planning grant to assess access to fresh produce in Imperial Valley. This submission is to the National Institute of Food as well as the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And basically what it looks to assess is access to fresh produce, as well as pursue a grant to bring services to the region that may not be available. This project will assess the current community food environment, the stakeholders, as well as existing assets in the community that can be leveraged to increase healthy food access in the community. And the truth of the matter is that healthy food access equals to a healthier community. For that reason, we submitted the letter of support with permission of the mayor, and the letter is attached that was submitted to San Diego State. So it's before you for ratification.
Wonderful. All right. Again, is there a motion to ratify the letter? Motion?
Motion
Thank
to,
you.
I so move to ratify the letter.
Thank you. Seconded
Second.
by Councilmember Sonia Carter. Madam City Clerk, please call the vote.
Councilmember Carter,
Yes.
Councilmember Oliva,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Marroquin,
Yes.
Mayor Cardenas Singh.
Yes, that item passes 5-0. We're on item number 15, which is discussion and necessary action regarding the award of bid and authorizing the execution of a contract for the Swarthout Park Field Lighting Project. Ms. Adriana Nava, Community Services Director.
Hello, Honorable Mayor and Council. This is to discuss the award of bid for the Swarthout Park project. First, I will go a little bit of a background. Most of our power poles within our facilities are from the 1960s. So many of them, they're at the end of their lifespan. About a year and a half ago, these last 18 months, we've had some issues at Swarthout Park where some of the poles have been leaning so heavily that we've had to replace them. Also, many of them show visible cracking. And so that for us is a safety issue that we want to address as soon as possible. So moving forward, we've been working on WPIMN, which was just completed, and we've been working on other facilities like McGee to get them renovated so that our children in the community can play safely and we're not dealing with issues that result from windstorm events. So overall, the scope of work for this project is to remove all the wooden poles and the electrical overhead service. In addition to that, we would install new metal poles with Musco LED field lighting throughout the park. At Swarthout right now, you're seeing 2 diamonds on the eastern portion, but those now have been converted to football fields. So this is a little bit of an older aerial. It would also include the large soccer field and then 1 baseball, softball diamond that we have, as well as the parking lots that are in the facility. There's 2 of them. There's 1 on the western portion, and then there's the center portion. Additionally, the switch gear would also be replaced as a result of this project. So staff, whenever we go out to bid, there are times that we receive a couple of bids. This time we received 5 bids. And we received 5 bids that were very, very close, which for us is a good sign because that means the bids are good. So our lowest bidder was Premier Electrical Solutions, and our second lowest bidder was Ace Electric. There was a difference about $187,000. The city has worked with both companies, and both companies can do the work. As it relates to our project timeline, we followed our bid process. So we started back in July 30th when we had the invitation for bids. On August 23rd, we did a mandatory pre-bid meeting. September 7th, we had our bid opening. September 12th, we received a bid protest from Ace Electric. September 15th, we received a bid protest response following our process from Premier Electrical. So whenever, as a city, we receive a bid protest, other bidders have the opportunity to respond to the bid protest. In this case, the attorney for Premier Electrical submitted a response, and the response is also a part of your packet. On October 31st, our city attorney drafted a response to Ace Electric. So as it relates to the bid review process, Javier Villaverde, our park supervisor, reviewed the bids. And so he will be providing a little bit of a background as to how he reviews bids and ensures they comply with our bid specifications.
Good evening, Madam
Good
Mayor,
evening.
fellow council members. The way we review bid is the same for every project that we do, no matter if it's 200,000 or 40 million. We follow a strict process. This, what you're looking at is basically like a checklist item for all the bid forms that are required to be submitted with the bid to be considered responsive. So it lists the bidders, the bid amount, and each identifies each form that it needed to be submitted as part of the bid to be responsive. So we go through each single form, make sure it's first of all submitted, completed, and if it's not completed properly, then we note what the discrepancies are or the minor irregularities in this case. And I usually highlight those in red. So we go through each and every form for each bid. We also check all the licenses for the prime contractors, subcontractors, and DIR registration as well for each and every sub and prime contractor. And we put it together in this form, and then we determine what the lowest responsible bidder is and submit it to legal for their review and approval before we bring it to you for award. Now, the subcontractor listing form, in this case, Premier Electric, where it says portion of the work, they put percentages. They only listed 2 subcontractors. And one of the issues was, I think, on the A&N quality builders, they either added a 0 or omitted a 0. I'm very familiar with A&N quality builders because they've done multiple city projects. They're a local contractor. So there are several ways you can look up a license if it's active through the California State License Board, either through the contractor's name, through their number, license number, or through their listed CFO, RMO, person who's listed on the license. If you know their name, you can look them up that way, and the license will show up as well. So there's 3 different ways you can look up the license to see if it's valid and verify the number for correctness. Now, in
I'm
this
sorry,
case,
I have a quick question. And
Yes.
that's a normal procedure. Every
Yes.
contractor license gets
Yes, I've come across
verified,
many
right?
times where
Vetted.
the numbers are off a little bit by a number, or they omitted a number or added a number. It's pretty frequent, pretty common. Especially sometimes when they have 7, 8 subcontractors listed. So that's just standard review.
Javier, can I ask a question as
Yes.
well? So under the portion of work, if it's not percentages, then what would be listed there?
Most of the time, contractors will list, for example, they'll list concrete work, demolition, landscaping, et cetera. This particular project is primarily electrical. I mean, 90% or more of the project is electrical. All we're doing is installing new field lighting and electrical switch gear. There's basically there's no other trades. I mean, there's no fencing, there's no landscaping, there's no building to be built. The only thing other than electrical is a little bit of concrete work for the pole foundations, as they have to bore in the ground about 10 to 20 feet for the foundations for the light poles, because they're 50 to 70 feet tall. So besides that, everything else, scope of work is electrical. So that's why we mainly went out to electrical contractors for this bid, not as opposed to a general B license contract.
Any other questions for Mr. Javier?
Thank you. Okay, so after a careful review of the bids submitted and the protest letter, city staff noted the protest letter by Ace Electric did not have any merit. Ace Electric raised minor technical issues that the city has the discretion to waive in a bid in accordance with section 14.f remedies of the bid document. In reviewing the protesting bidder's bid, it was also noted that 3 of the bid documents were incomplete as signatures were missing. Thus, the protesting bidder's bid had items at least equal in severity to the ones being protested from the low bidder. On October 31st, 2023, the city attorney responded to Ace Electric, the protesting party, recommending the bid to be awarded to the lowest responsible bidder, Premier Electrical Solutions.
Thank you, Javier. Council, any other questions on the item before us? Ms. Adriana, is there anything else in your presentation at this time?
No, I don't know if we have any members of the public who want to comment. We did reach out to Premier Electrical. Premier is here. Ace Electric, I don't know if they're present.
They may be on Zoom, I can't tell.
Through Zoom.
I don't know.
And so I just want to make sure that because this is a public forum, if they want to voice any concerns that, we allow them to voice any concerns.
Madam City Clerk, is there anyone online remotely asking to make any?
Please raise their hand. yeah.
All right,
Thank you.
all right. Thank you. Council, if there are no questions at this time, what is the will of this body in regards to the adoption of resolution number 23-09?
I move to approve.
Wonderful.
I would second that, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll call vote.
Councilmember Carter,
Yes.
Councilmember Oliva,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Marroquin,
Yes.
Mayor Cardenas Singh.
Yes, that's 5-0. The adoption of resolution number 23-108, resolution of the City Council of the City of El Centro awarding the bid and authorizing the execution of a contract for the Swarthout Park Field Lighting Project. Thank you so much. Moving us on to item number 16, approval of resolution authorizing the city to receive state funding. Mr. Abraham Campos. Oh, I like these.
All right, so we have item number 16 here, the execution of the agreement with the state for a beautiful project here in Embellece Beautify El Centro project. So this is my piece into this project. This is a huge effort by the city council, by city staff, Adriana, Angel, and engineering public works as well to get this project. As you know, the city received $4.7 million for Clean California, from Clear California to improve the downtown area, from entry gateways to the town plaza to some stormwater improvements as well. The first step as we move forward into this very tight deadline is to get a resolution awarded so we can start the discussions with the state, we'll get our agreement and move forward with the project. So this is the first step as we're making progress to secure the funding to the city of El Centro on this cycle of Clean California. So with that, I'm just looking for a motion to approve the resolution as presented so that we can continue with the project forward.
I love it, Mr. Abraham. You come and you ask for money and then you stand before us and you bring us money. I love how that works. All right, council, at this time, I'd like to see what the will of this body is in regards to the adoption of resolution 23-109, which is the resolution of the city council of the city of El Centro authorizing the execution of an agreement with the California Department of Transportation for the Beautify El Centro project.
I move.
Do I have a motion?
Yes, I move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll call vote.
Councilmember Carter,
Yes.
Councilmember Oliva,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
I think he has stepped away
Stepped
for a
out
minute.
away.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Marroquin,
Yes.
Mayor Cardenas Singh.
Yes. That item passes 4-0 with the exception of Mr. Garcia just stepping away here for a minute. So that item passes.
I think he's on his way back in, I think.
Mr.
There he is.
Garcia? Madam City Clerk, Mr. Garcia is back. If you can please.
Councilmember Garcia, your vote, please.
Yes.
You sure?
He's going to say yes
Sure.
to money.
We
I'll-
didn't miss it. We didn't miss the last one, right? This
Yeah, just the money.
Yes. So for clarification, that is 5-0 item, the adoption of resolution number 23-109. All right.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Abraham. All right, colleagues, we have 2 informational items here before you. And then at this time, I'll go ahead and move us on to task force reports. Councilmember Carter, is there anything you'd like to report?
Yes. We are approaching our busy months. I did attend the trunk or treat. Thank you to the city of El Centro. Very, very nice event. I attended my colleagues and we attended the Assemble Member Garcia. He presented a check, and I had the honor of standing with the El Centro School District for, I know that they're gonna pilot an electric bus with the money that they're presented with. I know that was one of the ideas that they had. There's several more coming, but I don't know what they are yet. And then I did attend the City Council Division meeting. It was nice seeing familiar faces. The first responder wall, wow. That was an awesome event. Very nice to see so many families come out and represent. That was very nice. The floating pumpkin patch, oh wow, you seen people. I seen so many people I haven't seen in years, and you live right here. I seen a lot of people at the floating pumpkin patch. That was very nice. It was like a reunion to me. And we also had the hospital board meeting, and I'm sure my colleagues will elaborate on that some more. And this concludes for me, Mayor.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Councilmember Tomas Oliva?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Since we last met, colleagues, the mayor and I had an opportunity to meet with Jeanette Angulo, the Public Health Director for the County of Imperial. That's important because we wanted to make sure that she informed us as to the process of selection and application for the person that will be appointed on behalf of the City of El Centro to the Imperial Valley Healthcare District. And so we're currently in that application period. And so just wanted to take this moment to remind the general public and the residents of El Centro that if you are interested in serving, there are some restrictions and limitations, meaning not a current employee of the hospital, not a current or former board member of ECRMC, not a current employee of the city, but certainly that still leaves plenty of thousands of people that will be very much qualified to put their name into consideration. And so if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the Public Health Department. I believe the closing date is next week, sometime next week. I think it's November 16th. And so any interested member, please, I direct you to the Public Health Department for more information. There were a lot of events, as you know, but I will keep it to the content. Our colleague, Ms. Carter, mentioned about the check presentation from Assemblymember Garcia, and that is from the AB 617 committee. The main corridor being from Calexico, Heber, El Centro. Funding is collected from air quality fines, and those monies being reallocated to the corridor in order to address air quality. And so I happen to sit on that committee as a resident of El Centro, and it was a moment to kind of sit in and reflect of the importance and the magnitude of it, where several millions of dollars were allocated to school districts within Calexico, Heber, El Centro, specifically to pay for infrastructure for electric vehicle charging. And what that would lead to is it'll save the school districts, and we're talking elementary school districts, high school districts, as well as ICOE, so that they could then begin that investment of purchasing electric vehicles for their district fleets, but also electric buses for these schools. And so part of that funding included, I believe, 2 or 3 electric buses for the Heber School District. And so that was the reason why there was a check presentation and why it was significant. And so that's just the beginning. And so a lot of these school districts were able to purchase or are considering purchasing electric buses, but using other funding mechanisms. But in order for that to make sense, right, the infrastructure needed to be put in place. So that's why it was significant. And we appreciate the Assembly member for creating the AB 617 policy, for identifying the funding, and for allowing us to kind of determine that future for ourselves and making that investment. The League of Cities was mentioned. I will defer about the Bell game to my other colleagues. The last thing I will say is the fentanyl outreach committee. So the district attorney has taken the lead on hosting several stakeholder meetings to talk about how the community can best work together in identifying resources and synergies related to fentanyl. And so certainly these conversations are going to include El Centro Regional Medical Center, the future healthcare district, and certainly our police department. I know the fire chief was there, Cedric was present, and it's about how do we put our best foot forward in educating our parents, educating our students of the impacts of fentanyl, the realities that it is here, the consequences of it. And we talked about grant opportunities to help this outreach campaign. And it was announced also that on the federal level, members of Congress are going to be introducing legislation that would create a grant program to pay for Narcan for school districts. So school districts can be able to apply for this funding in the coming future. And so they asked who would be supportive of that and who would want to be on record of supporting, and certainly the district attorney said he would, and as well as behavioral health department heads. And so that would be something that we could discuss further once it's a reality, but those are things that I just wanted to put on your radar. So with that, I yield back, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Garcia?
Yes, bear with me. There have been a lot of events. I had the pleasure of attending the League of California Cities dinner that we had in Brawley at the Stockman's Club. It was a very nice event. We had some very special guests there, and we represented the city at that event. Then the next day, of course, we had the Central Union High School Bell game, where we played Brawley. Of course,
Sorry,
like to
Sorry,
give
Chief.
some respect to the Brawley Wildcats for showing
Yeah,
up.
he is a Spartan.
Did keep the bell, and that is going to be living in El Centro for another year, rightfully so. So I'd
Here.
like to give a shout out to our coach, David Rookie Pena, who was also awarded the Los Angeles Chargers Coach of the Week right after that.
Awesome.
So not only did he have the pride and recognition of keeping the bell secure in El Centro, but then to be awarded that recognition by a national football team was wonderful to see. So that was great. I know we enjoyed it. I know a lot of us were there. That was a great game. Then after that, I attended, of course, our ECRMC Board of Trustees meeting on Monday. Then to give a special recognition to Sheriff Fred Miramontes and to all of the wonderful deputies and staff that helped plan out the haunted warehouse at the grounds of the Sheriff's Department. My family and I attended that on Tuesday. It was a wonderful little Halloween carnival. It was very well attended, and they did a great job with the warehouse. It's wonderful that they're taking an active role in the community and setting up these very nice, safe events for our families to enjoy on Halloween. Before we went to the haunted warehouse, we were here at City Hall handing out candy. We had a very nice event here. I also had the opportunity of judging our city Halloween contest, which was great.
Who is the winner? Who is the winner?
Beetlejuice, of course.
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice was hands down. That was one of the best costumes. She said she got up at 4 a.m. to get ready.
Wow.
That was amazing, amazing, but hands down, that was the consensus. But having everybody participate and then having them there to hand out candy to the kids in the community, it was just wonderful to see. I'm glad that we had that little event and participated. And of course, to our fire chief, after it ended at City Hall, it continued at our fire stations. So that was wonderful. I hope you guys got a lot of kids going there. Because it's great to have these wonderful safe spaces where kids can go and trick or treat and show their costumes and just enjoy the festivities without having to worry about anything happening. It's wonderful that we sponsor those types of things. Let's see. Then after that, I attended a Lego robotics competition at Wilson Junior High. That was interesting. I didn't even know we did those in the city, but apparently my child was involved. So, but there were lots
All
of
those
kids
years
there.
you stepped on Legos. Little did you
I
know.
Now they're building little robots about them, and but
That's cool.
we had a bunch of teams that represented our city schools, and we had a few of them qualify for regionals in San Diego, which is interesting because we had teams that came all the way from Mexicali, and they were not school-sponsored teams. They were more like clubs, so they were very well prepared. But our school teams competed very well and took some of those regional spots. So they're going to be going on to San Diego to continue to compete in that. So that was fun to watch. Let's see. Then that's about it. But I'd like to address the fact that on Thursday, we have the State of the City address being put on by our Madam Mayor at the El Centro Library. Looking forward to that wonderful event. And then we have our Veterans Day celebration at Buckland at our Veterans Memorial. And that's going to be another great event that I know that my colleagues will be there. And that's something that we celebrate every year. And I'm looking forward to the community and the participation there. But other than that, that's my report.
Wonderful. Thank you. Madam Mayor Pro Tem.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. So we were all of our my colleagues were in attendance for a ribbon cutting ceremony here at City Hall for I guess it's called Living El Centro magazine. I just have to commend Mr. Moran for bringing a new business into El Centro, featuring El Centro in his publication. And, he was sharing with us that once he reaches a certain number of circulation, then he's going to expand out into other areas, including the Coachella Valley. So, good. I wish him good luck and prosperity for his new venture. Let me see. I was also in attendance at the trunk or treat out at Starkfield. I have to commend the Community Services Department, all of Parks and Recs for, putting on such a wonderful event and safe space for all of our families and, to take their children to trick or treat. It is growing. That event is growing. This year, I had the pleasure of going through that haunted maze. There was one guy there that had this freaky, mask that it was just like, I thought, you know what, this guy scared me. I ran out of there, It's just like, so.
Left the 7-year-olds behind and you ran
Yeah,
out, right?
I ran out. Okay, so, and that same evening, I have to say that I went to the Mariachi Sol de Mexico concert at Southwest Theater. Wow, what a performance. I have to say that they are fantastic. Let's see. I was at the Debbie Pittman Park ribbon cutting ceremony a couple of weeks. Well, gosh, it seems like it's been like almost 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago, somewhere in there. And I got to see firsthand all of the new light fixtures and I see those on a regular basis because I work in that area. But, I just have to say that it really makes a huge difference with how much light that they project out into the surrounding area as well, not just for the field, but God, it makes it look so much more professional. And, and it really has enhanced the beauty of that park and the area around it. So looking forward to, the next park that we that we bring up to date. Let's see. Gosh, we had our task force to end homelessness meeting. And at that meeting, I invited Catholic Charities to participate with us because we're looking for a mechanism to, be able to provide assistance with funding for bus tickets for those individuals that are out on the streets that would like to, reunite with their families. And so unfortunately, the city doesn't have the mechanism, but I know that Officer Bernal and Anna Garcia, our code enforcement officer, are out in the streets, and they bring in donations. And so Catholic Charities is going to handle that aspect of reunification of these individuals for us. So, and that's a great partnership to have with them, because it'll also work hand in hand with, the day center, because they were explaining to us that, the bus companies don't want to take these individuals on unless they're clean. And so, the day center would then provide the service there before they get on the bus to go home and hopefully reunite with their families. So we've got that going. Also attended First Imperial Credit Union had an anniversary mixer for their Calexico branch that's been in existence for 5 years. And I worked there for a couple of years, a few years back. So I was really impressed to see that new branch in Calexico. I didn't even know that they had relocated it to another area. So let's see, also was in attendance at the Cal Cities Division meeting, along with all of my colleagues. The first responders wall plaque ceremony, that, what an honor to be able to participate in that ceremony, and to be able to go up and read the names of some of those individuals that were honored on that wall. So what a privilege it was for me. And because, it's really important for us, and my colleagues, I think I speak for them as well, that, the sense of community and the how proud we are of all of these individuals that have selflessly given of their time, their life, to make that a career. And so that was probably the least that we could do, in a way of honoring them. So I was also in attendance at the Floating Pumpkin Patch, and I think this is the third year. I think I've been to each one of them since they started this. And this time around, I took the little ones in my family, and I was there the whole afternoon. I was there from beginning to end, and you know what? We just had a really good time. And I have to say that the Aquatic Center staff just really puts on, such a great event for the community, and there were so many kids and so many people there, and so much participation in all the activities that they had there. So I commend all of you for that. Of course, we were all at the ECRMC board meeting the day before Halloween, but I was also here at City Hall for trick or treat, and I brought my little great niece, to partake of some of the goodies that were being given out. And oh my gosh, let's see. Oh, and our Dia de los Muertos celebration at the old post office pavilion. What a beautiful event. I have to say that the altar, the decorations, oh my gosh, the seniors that really went all out to, to make up themselves. I don't know how else to put it, but wow, that was really, really nice. I mean, I just, have to give again, all of the staff at the adult center, so much. They deserve a lot of kudos for putting on these types of events, for our, seniors in the community. I know that I took my mother with me, so we had a good time. And I think that concludes. Oh, and Councilmember Garcia and I are traveling to Atlanta, Georgia next week to attend the National League of Cities Conference. And so I know that I will be participating as a panelist to talk about the funding that was awarded to the El Centro Elementary School District from the bipartisan infrastructure bill that was put on by the Biden administration. So excited about that. And then we will, Councilmember Garcia and I will report back when we return. But that one is going to be a long one. We're going to be gone for 5 days. So
I want some hot sauce.
you want some hot sauce? You want some hot sauce, huh? So, and that concludes my report. And
All right. I will tell
It's a
you,
lot.
this council we're on fire. We have attended so many events. I will not duplicate any of the items that were discussed. If you take a look at my sheet, there's over 18 bullet points of events that have been
Oh
attended
my
just
God.
within the past 2 weeks. So to not duplicate, just to share that we had, our adult center had their Halloween parties. That was great. We had an opportunity for many of our senior citizens to dress up and just really enjoy the festivities. So great job to our staff. Of course, the Dia de Muertos was an excellent event, cultural event, and allows the opportunity just to reminisce and spend a great time with individuals. I will share at this point in regards to upcoming events, a reminder that tomorrow, Wednesday at 6 p.m. at the El Centro Library, it will be an open forum discussion for individuals to come in and share with us their concerns about the Imperial Avenue Complete Streets Plan. Of course, Thursdays are State of the City, really excited to showcase the great work that happens here at the City of El Centro. Again, on Saturday at 11 o'clock, City of El Centro Veterans Day ceremony. That will take place at Buckland Park. Please, we're excited to share here that the groundbreaking of our El Centro Police Department will be right around the corner, and we'll make that available to the public once that date and time has been determined. The McGee Park ribbon cutting ceremony will be November the 14th at 4:30 p.m. And that, of course, will be at McGee Park, which is East Brighton Avenue and South Fairfield Drive. More information will also be shared on our social media. But colleagues, this is where I need your help. So I am going to share with you that on behalf of Kiwanis, I will be part of a mystery box cook-off, and it will be myself as the City of El Centro Mayor. I have challenged the City of Imperial Mayor, and we are going to have a cook-off at the Ivy Food Bank. And we have to prepare a meal with what is provided in a commodity box that is provided. And we're allowed
Oh my
one
gosh.
mystery seasoning, and we are allowed to have a sous chef. My husband will be my sous chef. So
Oh
I'm
my
excited. That's going to be November the 17th. It'll be at Ivy Food Bank. It'll be El Centro versus Imperial. May the best chef win.
So we're going to have our own episode of Chopped.
Yes,
At the
yes,
food
we
bank?
are. Yes, we are.
Oh
Super
my
excited.
gosh.
And then I'd like to thank Chief Bernal. He allowed me to go into Fire Station 3. Got to take great pictures and pretend that I was cooking something up really good. I don't know what's in the commodity box, so we'll see what we have to
man.
come up with and make. All right, our council meeting will end no later than 7:45, and I will hand it over to our city manager for his report.
Madam Mayor, if
Yes,
I
I'm so
may,
sorry.
we didn't mention the Halloween event at the library. If I just
Oh,
wanna,
yes, I'm so sorry. Yes, absolutely.
that was a very nice event. And I just want to make sure that we don't look over how much our staff put into that, well, the library staff put into that. Very good event.
Yes, I had the opportunity to be part of the Halloween costume contest as well. And it was great. I know my granddaughter really enjoyed it. It was a full house. So thank you to our El Centro Library staff for such a great event. All right, Mr. Cedric Cesena, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I'll try not to repeat. Attended Unity Day at Sunflower. That was a nice presentation. Got to take some photos with a drone. We also had the opportunity to have the Senior Citizens Group update at our community center. Had the opportunity to welcome the CRLA new executive into Imperial County. Also participated in the Imperial County Workforce Development Board conversation where the public had an opportunity to provide feedback as to what's going to happen with training, education, and workforce development for Lithium Valley. Attended the Debbie Pittman ribbon cutting. We had some really good paletas. If there's food, I'll be there. Attended the State of the College Town Hall and grand reopening at IVC as well. That was good to hear from the great changes at IVC. As far as the bell game is concerned, Tyler Salcido, you're listening. Hopefully, if not, I'll play this for you. You lost, and you need to wear the Central jersey. The ground rules will be that I hope you can wear it at one of your council meetings. As far as the fentanyl outreach committee meeting that was mentioned by Councilmember Oliva, I just want to commend our fire department as well as AMR, a partner agency. So the fire department and AMR both have deployed leave behind Narcan programs. So that means that if anybody is within the city of El Centro is affected by a narcotic overdose, they get to leave behind now medication in the event that the patient reverts back into an overdose, which tends to happen regularly. AMR obviously has deployed the program across the county. Had the opportunity to attend the headquarters reserve grand opening and ribbon cutting. It's been a busy time. So we had 3 employees get sworn into city service. That's been great. Dia de los Muertos event had some really good pan de muertos. So again, if you have food, I'll be there. San Diego State and IVC did a check presentation for student housing. And it was really nice to hear that the catalyst for that particular program was the tiny home project that was developed here in the city of El Centro. And then shameless plug is that I recently graduated from a high performance leadership academy through the International City and County Management Association. It was a 3-month program. It felt like it was about a year long. However, I'm proud to say that I received my certificate of completion and I had a score of 98%. So I think I did pretty good.
Okay.
Shameless plug.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. It is now 7:39 and our meeting is adjourned.